We continue now at the top of Daf Samach Dalet Amud Aleph from Meseches Bava Metzia. This is Bava Metzia Daf 64a. And the previous Amud of Nachman said that if a person borrows money and he finds that there's been some extra money given to him, more than the lender said he was going to lend, so then it depends. If it's a situation where you can assume that the lender made some kind of a mistake, so then you should return the money. But if it's a situation where it doesn't seem like he made an error, so then you can assume that that money is a gift. And so the Gemara says, how can you tell whether it's something that seems to be an error or whether it seems to be a gift? And the Gemara now answers, B'isuraisa v'chumshaisa. Let's say it's done in tens and fives. Rashi explains, B'isuraisa v'chumshaisa. Im yesh l'chalkam lamosa odfos lahotzian asara asara. Let's say you divide up all the money, and it's going to turn out that the extra was exactly 10, or in units of 10. Oh, hey, or let's say it's in units of 5, meaning units of 10 coins, or units of 5 coins. V'ein echad o shnayim odfos she'ein bos l'chlal. Hey, you don't have any extra that doesn't come to that unit. So then already, yesh lomar shatah b'cheshbono. Then it makes sense that there was a mistake in calculation. He gave an extra set of 5, an extra set of 10. In misuraisa ninuta ben chamishim li'arboim. If it's in tens, he made a mistake between 50 and 40. O ben arboim l'shloshim, or between 40 and 30. V'meina nasirios, let's say it's not in tens, v'yeshnan chamishios, but it is in fives. Yesha yuragilin limnos chamish chamisha. Some people, they count out the money in sets of 5 coins. V'im hayu odfos harbe could go nun hey, let's say it was extra by a lot, like it's 55. So then ta basirios kedifirashta, you can assume the mistake was in tens. V'yesh kan tos shel nun b'dilagecha, there was a mistake of 50 in one shot. Uv'hei ha'odfos ta ben gimel liyarba, and then in the 5 extra, again, there was also some kind of mistake like that. O emodfos tesvav, o chafei, ta gimel pamim, o hey pamim, b'cheshbon shel chamesh, again, if it's extra by 15, 25, by 15 or 25, then you say 3 times he made a mistake in units of 5, or 5 times he made a mistake in units of 5. But if the extra doesn't come out to 5, it's just 1, 2, 3, or 4, it doesn't reach 5, so then we assume that there was no mistake, and we assume that the extra is a gift. And the Gemara continues, Amarle Ravacha Brei de Rava le Ravashi. Ravacha, the son of Rava, said to Ravashi, V'inish takifahu, if the person is a difficult person, to lo yoiv matan, he's not the kind of person that gives a gift, so what are you going to assume in that case? Do you still assume that it's a gift in that situation? Amarle said to him, Dilma migzal gazle, maybe what happened was this person actually stole from him, V'ivla le b'cheshbon, and then he included it, he added that money in when he was lending him, that was a way he wanted to pay back what he stole. Titania, as we learned in a braysa, if somebody steals from his friend, and then he absorbs it into the calculation, he adds a little extra in that fashion. So yatsa, so he does fulfill his obligation of returning what he stole. But the Gemara continues, let's say it's a person from the outside. He never did business with this person. It doesn't make sense to say that he stole from him. So then so what are you going to say in that situation? So Amarle said to him, well, maybe somebody else stole from him. And then the person said, when so-and-so borrows money from you, can you include this in the extra, include this in the money that you're lending, include a little bit extra, and that will give back essentially what I stole. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Kahana says, Hava Yosifna B'shili Pirkei de Rav. I was sitting at the end of the drasha of Rav. Rashi explains, B'shili Pirkin Kishasayim Lidrosh, when he was finishing his drasha, Bosi, that's when I came, V'lo Shamati Tchilas Devarav. I didn't hear the beginning of what he was speaking about. So again, Yasivna B'shili Pirkei de Rav. I came at the end of the drasha of Rav, V'shamis de Kamar, and I heard that he was saying, Keri, he said, gourd. He was talking something about gourds. V'lo Yadana my Kamar, but I didn't know exactly what he was saying. Rashi says, Shamis de Kamar Kari, Shamati Doresh Umazkir Delu and Tamid. He was mentioning Deluin, which are gourds. And so again, he says, I didn't know exactly what Rav was saying when he was mentioning that. Basar de Kam Rav, after Rav got up, Amri Lahu, so I said to them, meaning to say, I said to the Talmidim, my Kari, what is this gourds that he's talking about? My Kari, de Kam Rav, what is this gourds that Rav is referring to? And the Gemara continues, Amruli, they said to me, Hachi Kam Rav, this is what Rav was saying, Haiman de Yoiv Zuzi Legina, if somebody gives a zuz to a gardener, akri for gourds, v'ka'azli asar akri b'nei zersa, and he's able to buy with that zuz, he's able to buy 10 gourds, and each gourd is the size of a span, meaning from the thumb to the little finger. They're small. V'yamar le, and so he says to him, Yahivna lach b'nei garmida, if you give me the zuz now in advance, so I'm going to give you bigger gourds, they're going to be an amalong. And so Rav says, Isnu shari, if the person has these larger gourds, it's permitted, less nu asr, but if he doesn't have the larger gourds, so then it's going to be asr, because again, he's paying a cheaper rate, essentially lending money in exchange for getting a better value back at the end. And the Gemara says, Pshita, isn't that obvious? Of course that's considered to be ribis. And the Gemara says, Ma'u detema, what might you have said? Kaven de memela karabu, since really he has the gourds and they're going to grow memela, they're going to grow automatically. So shapir dami, so maybe it's considered to be fine. It's as if he has them in his possession. The Gemara says, Kamash Malana comes to teach us, no, if he doesn't actually have the larger gourds in his possession right now, even though the ones he has can grow, that is not considered that he has it in his possession, and it is a problem of ribis. And the Gemara continues, Kaman, who does this ruling of Rav follow? Ki haitana detanya, it's like the Tana in the following brisa, haholech lachlav es izav, if somebody's going to milk his goats, veligzos es rechelav, where he's shearing the wool from his sheep, velirdos es kavaraso, where he's getting the honey from the hive, matzu chaveiro, his friend finds him, v'yamar lo, he says to him, mashi izai cholvos, whatever my goats, whatever milk comes out, macharlach, you're paying me in advance, I'm going to sell whatever comes out, whether it's less, whether it's more. Masher rechela goes as oser, whatever I get shearings from my sheep, macharlach, that's sold to you, or masha kavarasi roda or whatever honey I get from the hive, that's going to be sold to you. So mutter, that's going to be mutter. He's paying in advance, and even though really he could end up getting more because he's paying in advance, but since he doesn't really know what he's getting, it could actually be that he'll end up getting less. That's why it's not considered ribis and it's mutter. But if he says to him, he says, what my goats, whatever milk comes, and it's a specific amount, that's going to be sold to you. And again, he's giving him more because he's paid in advance. And masher chelai goes as those kach v'kach macharlach, whatever my sheep, whatever the shearings are, a specific amount that is sold to you. Masher kvorasi roda kach v'kach macharlach, or whatever honey comes from the hive, again, a specific amount is sold to you. So then aser, then it's going to be forbidden because that's ribis, because he got the money in advance, he's giving him extra. And so the Gemara says this is consistent with Rav. Now, even though there's growth automatically over here in this case, so you'll say maybe it's as if it's already in this person's possession, but kevan de lesnu by shaita, but since it's not actually in his possession at that moment, aser, it is forbidden. And the Gemara continues, Ika Diyamri, there are those that say, they have another version of the above. Amar Rava says the exact opposite when it comes to the gourds. Kevan de memela karabu, since they grow automatically, shaper dummy, that is considered to be a good arrangement. It's considered like it's in his possession, even though they're not large right now, and therefore it's permitted. It's not a problem of ribis. Now, according to this version, the Gemara has a question from the Brisa. V'atanya, but then we learn in the Brisa, kach v'kach aser, that if he says you're going to get such and such an amount, it is forbidden, and we do not say that since it's going to come automatically, therefore it's as if it's already in his possession and it's not a problem. And so the Gemara answers there's a difference between the case of the gourds and the case of the milk and the shearings. Hasam lav mine karava, because over there, let's say you're talking, for example, about the milk doesn't just get larger. It's not like you have a little bit of milk that then grows. And the proof is, the shakli leilahai, if you take this milk, there's new milk that's going to come. So it's not the idea that you already have possession of milk that's just growing larger. The idea actually is that the goat is going to continue to produce new milk. That's not considered like the milk's already in his possession. But over here by the gourds, minei karabu. So it's actually growing. The gourds that the person has are going to grow larger. So that's from the gourd itself. It's as if the larger one's already in his possession. And the proof to that is the chishakli leilahai. For example, if you take away one of the gourds, lo aseh achrina beduchli, there's not going to be another gourd that's going to replace it. The idea is these same gourds are growing larger. That's why it's considered that it is in his possession, and it is okay. It's not considered a problem of ribis. And the Gemara continues, Amar Abaya says, Shari leila inish lamemar leila chavre, it's permitted for a person to say to his friend, Heilech arba zuzei achavisa dechamra, take these 4 zuz on this barrel of wine, I'm going to advance you the 4 zuz for the wine, and itakfa, if the wine sours, birashusech, so then it's considered that it's soured in your possession, and you have to take the loss, but iyikra izila, but if it fluctuates in value, it goes up or down in value, so birashusi, so that's going to be in my possession. If it goes up, it's going to be to my benefit. If it goes down in value, it's going to be to my detriment. And the Gemara continues, Amarle Rav Sharvia li Abaya, Rav Sharvia said to Abaya, and Rashi explains, Achavisa dechamra, again, he gives him the money for a barrel of wine, sheyesh biyodach, that barrel of wine you do have in your possession, you're going to deliver it to me in the future. Im takfa im machmetzes, again, takfa means to say that if it sours, then that's considered to be in your possession, that is your loss, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Samech Dalid Amud Beis.